Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have the memorization of the Holy Quran. A ceremony was launched on the 20th edition of Holy Quran Memorization Regional Competition. For international scene, withdrawal of Houthi rebels confirmed by United Nations. Welcome to our newsroom. The Ministry of Muslim Affairs launched the 20 sessions of the regional competition of memorization of the Holy Quran called the Grand Prize of the Head of State. Also, Djibouti, 10 of countries of the region, including Somalia, Ethiopia, Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, Somaliland, Yemen, Comoros, Tanzania, take part in the competition. The ceremony of the launch of this competition has been in the presence of the Director of Islamic Affairs, Mr. Al-Salih Ahmed Abdallah, and the members of the jury committee. The first day of competition, the participants complete to the memorization of all the Quran or 13 chapters. Extraordinary voice and perfect psalmody, that is what the young representative of these nations have offered to the members of the jury during their passage. For his part, the Minister of Muslim Affairs delivered a speech in which he wished welcome to all the participants in the ceremony of the launch of the 20 sessions of regional competition, memorization of Quran, known as Grand Prize of the Head of State. Mr. Momin Hassan Barik expressed satisfaction in meeting the constellations of Quran memorizer from different countries in the region, such as Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Comoro, and another series from Djibouti. The Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps Service to the King of Saudi Arabia, Diaydin Said Bamakrama, was received in audience by the servant of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, at As-Salam Palace in Jeddah. The deans of the diplomatic corps and ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia forwarded to the King the greetings and congratulations of their Majesties and Excellencies, the leaders on Arab countries and friends, on the occasion of advent of the holy month of Ramadan, and the congratulations all members of diplomatic corps accredited to the kingdoms of the Saudi rulers address his greeting distinguished to leaders of Muslims country and friend, imploring Allah to bestow his blessing in the blessed month of Ramadan. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Muhammad Mahamoud, today received a courtesy visit from the new ambassador of Kingdom Saudi Arabia, Abdul Aziz Abdallah Al Matar. The meeting was an opportunity to make contact with the new Saudi diplomat and discuss ways and means to strengthen cooperation between MENFOP and Saudi Arabia. After a war of welcomes, the minister presented the MENFOP policy, in particular the EAP and the transmitted project that will have to redress the quality and efficiency of the education system. Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahamoud has also insisted for a long time on technical education and vocational training, which is the government's workhorse for overcoming youth unemployment. The new Minister of Justice, Penitentiary Affairs in charge of human rights, Ali Hassan Bahto, went this morning to the headquarters of the Supreme Court, where he was able to meet the President of the Supreme Court, Mr. Abdurrahman Sheikh Mohammed, President of the Supreme Court, as well as the councillors sitting in this High Court. The meeting, the ministers and his delegations composed of Secretary General Mr. Maki Omar Abdul Qadir, the technical advisor Ms. Farhiya Jama Ibrahim, and Mr. Mahdi Yusuf Umar, Director of Legislation and Reforms Mr. Ahmed Osman Hashi went to the Palace of Justice, where they were welcomed by the head of jurisdiction, Ms. Nim'a Ali Warsama, president of the Court of Appeal, as well as Ms. Layla Muhammad Ali, acting as prosecutor general, Mr. Eid Ahmed Ibrahim, prosecutor of the Republic. Finally, Ms. Nim'a Mahmoud Noor, president of the Court of the first instance. All the heads of jurisdictions welcomed the minister. He made a complete hours on the premises meetings the magistrate working on this jurisdiction. He was able to observe the ongoing automation's work with the computerizations of the judicial locker. The minister also visited the palace library as well as the various registries. During his hour, the minister visited many services, including the library in the palace. The new Minister of Communication for Post and Telecommunication, Radwan Abdullahi Bahdoun, continued this morning his towers in contact with the various department under his with a visit to the RTD, accompanied by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Communications, the senior executive of the department. The Minister Radwan Abdullahi Bahdoun was welcomed to his arrivals by the RTD Acting Director Suad Farah Adawi, the officials of the Broadcasting Television Djibouti. The minister began his visit by a digital studio, in particular where the different channels of RTD are issued. On the post on the technical director, Mr. Abdurrahman Mohamed Yahya, senior executive, gave him all the necessary explanation. Subsequently, the minister continued his visit to other buildings, including the television built in 1990 by the Japanese government, where there are also production studio, broadcasting studio, and various editing rooms. The Minister of Urbanism, Environment, Tourism, His Excellency Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, this morning made a tours of contact in the various premises of the National Tourism Agency. The Minister, accompanied by members of his cabinet, including the Secretary General, Mr. Dini Abdullah Umar, Mr. Adan Hassan Ilmi, Technical Advisor. The Minister was welcomed by the General Directors of the National Tourism Agency. The purpose of this visit was to inquire about the current missions and activities of the National Tourism Agency. The Minister was able to discuss with the Director of the National Tourism Agency ways and means to further develop tourism in Djibouti. The Minister of Transport and Equipment, Mr. Musa Mohammed Ahmed, made this morning a contact visit to the Djibouti International Airport, accompanied by officials from his department, including the Secretary General of the Ministry, Mr. Said Nuh. On his arrival, the Minister was greeted by the Director General, Mr. Mohammed Yusuf Sharmake, and the staff. So after this visit, the ministers met with the director to discuss the proper functions and missions of various departments, and then the ministers attend a presentation related to the mission of the airport. He then visited the control towers of the International Airport of Djibouti. He received the necessary information by the head of this entity. The new Minister of Equipment Transport, Mr. Musa Mohammed Ahmed, closed this visit to the National Agency of Meteorology. He was greeted by the General Directors of this agency, Mr. Mohammed Ismail Noor, the Director of the National Meteorological Agency. Present to the Ministers the mission of this agency. An important delegation of the International Labour Organization is led by the regional director of this institution, Mr. Alexio Musindo, was welcomed today by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Hassan Mohamed Kamil. In his office, the employability of these living forces of our nation is a permanent concern that mobilizes several ministerial departments. Added Mr. Hassan Mohamed Kamil, the head of the UN delegation, is Mr. Musindo congratulated himself on the vital importance that the President of the Republic attached to youth by organizing a dialogue with young people and welcoming with open terms all their grievances, and by putting a whole mechanism to promote entrepreneurship, another way to stem unemployment in Djibouti. Continuing his intervention, the regional directors praised all the effort undertaken by the State Secretariat for Youth and Sport, which offers short-term training and income generating in the CDC in support of UNICEF, promised to join with all partners to address the employment challenges of young Djiboutians. The Committee of Legislation and General Administration met in the committee chambers of the National Assembly, chaired by the Khaltoum Farah Said. The agenda of the meetings focused on two bills: a bill codifying the operations of the general pension schemes for employed persons as amended, revising the terms of contribution for the acquisitions of the pension right of widow and orphan of contributor to the National Pension Fund. During these commissions, the government was represented by Ms. Momina Hamid Hassan, Minister of Women and Family, after a constructive debate on the development of this body and the analysis of the provisions of mentioned bills. The Committee on Legislation and General Administration favored the transmission of these texts at the next public sitting of Parliament. On the occasion of the 42nd anniversary of the national independence of the Republic of Djibouti, which will be celebrated on Thursday, June 27, 2019, the City Hall of Djibouti will communicate to all Djiboutians to mobilize massively to commemorate this national event in the joy over the whole of the national territory. Each individual is invited to become more involved during the preparations for the festivity until the celebrations on the day of day to mark this memorable anniversary date for our beloved country. The town hall of the city of Djibouti invite all the population living in the capital to contribute strongly to the general operations, clean city and embellishment of the city by the facade of administrations of different shops and houses. The religious affairs of the Embassy of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Djibouti last night organized a collective breakup of young at its headquarters in the neighborhood Hormuz. This annual event was chaired by the Ministers of Muslim Affairs of Cultures and Waqf Property, Momin Hassan Barre, in the presence of the new ambassador of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mr. Abdulaziz bin Abdullah Al Matar. Also participated in the event a number of Arab ambassadors, including the Dean of Diplomatic Corps, the Ambassador of the State of Palestine in Djibouti, Mr. Kamel Ghazaza, as well as a representative of international organizations, religious leader, and NGOs, Saudi religious attaché in Djibouti. Badaha bin Abdurrahman al-Badah has given us a warm welcome to the guests who responded to his invitations for a moment convivial for sharing the breakup of Yanker Collective. This annual initiative during the blessed month of Ramadan reflects this relationship between the Republic of Djibouti and Saudi Arabia. After their visit to the Lakasal and Gubet, the delegations of potential investors had a sumptuous diners at the Sheraton Hotel. The 350 Chinese guests in Ramadan Al-Khaimah tent have tasted the delights of Djiboutian gastronomy in a atmosphere that owes its singularity to Star's Table. This event was animated by the different cultural artists of the countries and the national singer Awale Adan. After the sang and dances, a ceremony of distribution of the certificate to the Chinese investor was held in the presence of the ambassador of Djibouti in China, Abdullah Miguel, and the director of the tourism, Mr. Usman Abdi Mohammed. In his speech, Ambassador Abdullah Miguel emphasized that the cooperation exchange between China and Djibouti have progressed, consolidating within the public opinion the foundations of a strengthening of solidarity and pragmatic cooperation between China and the Republic of Djibouti. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Family, Anissa Hassan, began her exchanges and discussions tower with the rural community of the regions of Dekhilan al-Sabih, the interior regions. The 2 to 4 April 2019, this strong delegation was accompanied by the Deputy Prefect Yusuf Ali. In each locality, the ministry has set up economic and community organizations to promote women's economic empowerment. Thus, 13 agro-pastorals and artisanal cooperatives will be launched during this tower. In addition, the ministry delivered solar kits for the newborns, mosquito nets, and food. Delegations first went to the locality of Bonta. Arrival in Bonta, delegation was warmly welcomed by the locals and the president of the mutual community took the floor at first to wish the welcome to all thanking the ministry for having implemented the mutual community project in their locality. Officials took turns speaking to the community and responding to their grievances. The visit was closed with the delivery of 27 nurse kits for newborns and 52 solar kits, 19 food items, and 25 mosquito nets for the community of Leita. The Secretary General, Ms. Anissa Hassan, urged the community to continue their effort in this area. The following mornings, the delegations of the ministry inaugurated a community daycare center and handed over dozens of wheelchairs to children with disability. The towers of the regions was complete in mobile, where the ministry is helping to set up agricultural and small-scale cooperatives, she said. For the international scene, day one of Houthi withdrawal from Yemen's ports went according to the United Nations says. Listen to the report.
In a long delay plan for a withdrawal of rebel force from Yemeni impacted the Hodeida port has gone to plan according to UN official. Day one of the process seen as vital to maintaining a tenuous ceasefire, during which Yemeni Houthi force have started withdrawing from 3 of Yemeni's Red Sea ports, went in accordance with the established plan, the head of UN monitoring mission say on Sunday. The development marks the first Congress step since a fragile UN ceasefire agreement was brokered between the war-ravaged nations rival parts last December.
Polls close in Philippine vote since as referendum on Duterte. Listen to the report.
The clause in Philippine election for legislators and local executives that is accepted to strengthen President Rodrigo Duterte's hold on power halfway into his term. More than 61 million Filipinos are registered to vote in the midterm polls, with roughly 43,000 candidates vying for some 18,000 government posts. The Commission on Election declared the voting to have been generally successful and without major problem all over the country of more than 7,000 islands. It did not report that at least 400 of some 85,000 computers, ballot scanner on country glitches. The higher position at stake are 12 seats in the Senate to compose half of the higher congressional chamber already dominated by Senator Alia or supportive of the Duterte's administration.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.